I went to the meeting, I was the last one to speak, and I said, I think you should burn the building down and put up a brick and granite building.
When you think of Bridgewater, you think of the Academy Building. Its history is so rich that it was difficult to think of it not being here.
Although it was the iconic center and you could see potential for beauty, it was pretty much an eyesore.
In the basement, it was full of mold. It was really in awful shape.
In the state that it was before, it could appear that Bridgewater didn't really respect its past, nor care or have a real direction about its future. And that couldn't be further from the truth.
The community was founded in 1656. It's one of the first communities in this country. It used to be made up of dairy farms, but it's transitioned. We have a little bit of a commercial base, but it's heavily skewed residential, becoming quite a popular place to live.
The Academy Building was set up in 1799. All the kids from about 15 different towns came here. We sent a lot of people to Harvard.
There are people still alive in Bridgewater who went to school here, people whose parents and grandparents went to school here.
And it really stands out as the important building here in town.
We do have a town hall, and it's the smaller building across the street, but this is the bigger building.
The town hall plays a very important role, I think, in any New England town, but I think particularly in Bridgewater. People are very engaged in what's going on in town politics.
But this building, in the location that it is in, it didn't really represent everything that Bridgewater is.
Everybody was in very cramped and suboptimal space, and they weren't all together.
It got to a point that we had to vacate the building altogether, and we had to move the offices wherever we could find space. We kind of had to say, go to the fire station because that's where planning is. Go to the library because that's where the town manager's office is. So it was difficult for the employees, but also a challenge for the community.
But we had to do it in order to keep the town going.
Fortunately, Bridgewater had signed on for the Community Preservation Act, which is basically a surtax on property taxes that sets money aside for, among other things, historic preservation.
So we went to the Community Preservation Committee and we asked them for a long-term commitment in order to fund the construction of this project. And the committee said, yes, we're going to fund this project to make this building what it really should be.
The debate was whether to tear it down and start from scratch or to try to rehabilitate the building. And they ultimately decided that we could have what we needed, a modern office space, while still paying homage to the rich history that the building had.
I wasn't too happy the way the vote went, but it went. I decided I was going to get onto the committee because I wanted to see the building was done correctly.
One of the critical parts of making this kind of project successful is putting together a really good team.
Their objectives, they were very clear. They wanted to preserve this building, but also it had to function as a 21st century facility with all the important components of a modern building, particularly for the civic role that it plays.
When you go to pick an architect, you've really got to do your homework. I bid hundreds and hundreds of jobs, and Taipei had always had a very good reputation. I'm going even back 30 years ago.
With the team, we had to decide what to preserve, we have to decide what to restore, and what to replicate.
They brought onto their team an historic preservation consultant.
The pilastic caps were in terrible shape. In that case, we decided to restore a few of them and put them inside the building where they would be protected. But then we used them also to create molds. So what you see outside, these are glass fiber reinforced concrete They are identical to the originals because they were taken from that mold, but they are brand new.
We saved some of the historic windows on the front portion of the building.
Things like the metal ceiling in this room, it was clean, it was pre-primed, painted, and reinstalled.
When you walk into the building, on your left is the treasurer's office, and on your right is the clerk's office. When you look back into both offices, you can see the old blackboards that we've salvaged and put back up. And you can also see beautiful lights that are hung, and those were similar lights to the ones that were there when the building was first used as a classroom building.
I get a real kick out of being able to point out some of the wonderful things we were able to save and also make this a modern, functional office space.
So even though essentially the entire interior of the building is new, I think anybody that walks in would certainly think it's a renovation because we've tried to incorporate some of those historic elements throughout the building.
We're able to hold community meetings here. We're able to have regional meetings with state officials here. It just says that Bridgewater is open for business, and it looks like Bridgewater is open for business.
When you come into a building, whether you're a taxpayer, a voter, resident, employee, you want to be invited into a building that you know is going to be a comfortable place for you to either do your business, work, what have you.
We do marriage licenses. Water bills, taxes are paid there. If you're selling or buying a house, the assessor's office is just down the hall.
This building and this project was a great thing because it represented bringing all of those departments and people back together again. Really, for the first time in decades, we had all the employees now under one roof. It
seems kind of ridiculous now thinking about some of the conditions, but we're free to just do the work and serve the community, and that's what we're charged to do.
This is the focal point now of the town, which it should be. I'm 77. I've lived in town all my life, and this place never looked so good.